Stopping, or at least curbing, the United States gun violence problem has been a talking point on the campaign trail for 2020 Democratic presidential candidates. But following the shootings in El Paso and Dayton, Ohio, it's become a rallying cry.
We have a moral responsibility to do everything we can to save the thousands of lives that are at stake right now.
We must act to prevent people who should not have guns from getting them.
Do you think about the fact that that guy in Dayton, in less than a minute, killed 9 people? Why does someone like that have an assault weapon?
It's clear these presidential hopefuls agree that policy should be implemented in the face of mass shootings. So how do they plan to do it? There are a few schools of thought, starting with something nearly every candidate agrees on: banning assault weapons. This would seek to keep military-style weaponry out of the hands of civilians. Former President Bill Clinton signed a ban on assault weapons into law in 1994, but when the ban expired 10 years later, Congress opted not to renew.
This is it's amazing to me that we even have to have this debate. I mean, how long are we going to let this go on?
Democratic candidates also argue for universal background checks ahead of firearm sales. This would require federal criminal background checks for all gun sales and most gun transfers. Legislation with this type of mandate passed the House in February 2019, but it's at a standstill in the Republican-controlled Senate.
A bill to require a background check for every firearm sale.
Candidates are taking it a step further by also supporting red flag laws. This type of law aims to prevent someone from having firearms if they are at risk of being violent. Even Trump says he's a proponent of red flag laws.
We must make sure that those judged to pose a grave risk to public safety do not have access to firearms, and that if they do, those firearms can be taken through rapid due process. That is why I have called for red flag laws.
Other candidates have made the case for some form of gun licensing system. This looks different under each candidate's specific policy proposal, but the idea is to create a set of standards as a requirement to apply for a gun license, similar to how you might apply for a passport or a driver's license.
Do you support federal gun licensing?
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
An increasing number of candidates are also calling for federal gun buybacks, which seek to reduce the number of civilian-owned guns by allowing people to turn in their firearms to the federal government in exchange for compensation.
I would institute a national buyback program, and I would move in the direction of making sure that in fact, was what we tried to do, get them off the street.
Beyond these main categories, there are a number of other policy proposals circulating around the Democratic field. While Democratic candidates are passionate about the issue of curbing gun violence, most of these proposals are not necessarily new ideas. Implementing sweeping change in the world of gun legislation is impossible unless Congress can agree on a bill with these policies. But no matter the method, Democrats with their eyes set on the White House have made it clear: the issue of gun violence is a top priority.